Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So for this video, I will be talking about my March TBR / MBR, and I believe I have about 9, possibly 10 books that I want to try to get to in the month of March. And you'll see why. Usually I'll try to read anywhere between 10, possibly even 15 books in a month, but probably will only get to 9. One of these books will be very long, and yeah, you'll see why I'm probably only going to read about 9 or 10 books this month. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let's go ahead and start out with the books that I own physically, which would be 4 of them. And the first one I'll mention here is The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch, which is the 3rd book in the Genuine Bastard series. We're currently in the middle of a read-along for this over on the Bookish Drummer Discord. Link down below for that. And I love this book. It definitely is the most underrated in the bunch. A lot of people say that this is a departure in quality from the first 2 books, but I would highly disagree. All 3 books for me are worth reading. They're all 5 stars. It is a bit different than the first 2. You get a lot of backstory in here, but I think it adds a lot to the character's development. Like, you learn a lot about the character's backstory in this one, and I think it's just great. And it's Locke and John doing more Locke and John things. And yeah, it's a really good time, and I hope people enjoy it just as much as I do. Next up for March, we have Rose Matter, which is our March pick for the Stephen King Book Club. Again, channel open for discussion over on the Bookish Drummer Discord. First 2 months were interesting. The first month, for different seasons, almost everybody loved that collection, or at least loved one of the novellas in that collection. And then from a Buick 8, generally people did not like that as much, but there was at least one person who got a good kick out of it and that enjoyed it. So mixed opinions on From a Buick 8. This one, I suspect, will also have mixed opinions. I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy this one, but I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, might have some problems with more the second half of this book. It is an underrated book in the sense that the main character of Rose, or I think it might be Rose or Rosie, the main character is great, and the first half of this book is really intense and really good. It's kind of the second half that sometimes bothers me, but I think knowing what it is now, I'll have a better time rereading it. At least I'm hoping that's what the case is. I think Ian has not read this one, who is the co-host for the Stephen King Book Club, and it's going to be fun to get his reactions as well as to everyone else who wants to join us for it. So yeah, Rose Matter, definitely going to be checking this one out next month, or I should say this month, assuming this book goes out, or this video goes out in March. Can I even talk? Next up, we have another kind of unofficial buddy read-along happening on the Bookish Drummer Discord. Lots of things happening every month. But I'm continuing with War for the Rose Throne, with the 3rd book in that series by Peter McLean, Priest of Gallows. Now, I've already read the first 2 books, Priest of Bones and Priest of Lies. Both very great. I give both of those books 4.5 stars. Kind of the main complaint with the series is that I love the main character, Thomas Piety. He's already one of my favorite kind of male fantasy protagonists of all time. He's great, but kind of the minor characters aren't as great because there's a lot of them and they kind of each get their own thing that's going on, but you're getting the whole book through Thomas Piety, who's a great character. But that's kind of the main, like, if a book is going to be 5 stars, I have to get along with at least 2 or 3 like of the main characters. And really, main character's Thomas Piety. He's great. Side characters are good. Hopefully in the 3rd and 4th books, we can kind of start to get them a bit fleshed out more and maybe have some more crucial character moments. But For what it is, it's still a really standout fantasy series, and I'm really looking forward to continuing. Next up, I have to talk about a book that I'm reading because of a game that takes place over on the Book Astronomer Discord called the Random Number Generator game, where essentially every month I do a random number generator. It picks out a number between 1 and 100, and I let my Discord members try to guess what that number is. And whoever is the closest to that gets to choose a book from my Goodreads TBR for me to read the following month. And the winner was A Confused Goat, and the book that they want me to read, which I'm very excited about, and I would have gotten too soon anyway, is The Reformatory by Tanana Rivdu. I believe is how you pronounce it. But this book I am super pumped about, and this was gifted to me by Ian from Ian the Reader. This book I am super excited about, and I really don't have too much more to say. Like, I just want to read this book. And I would have read it sooner, but like, I plan on reading it in February, but then I got the audiobook from Libby because I want to immersion read it, and I've already booked up February, and now I got to push it back till March. But A Confused Goat also wants me to read it, so perfect timing. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Now we're going to talk about the 5, possibly 6 books that I don't own physically, but I still want to check them out in March. We have a couple of Patreon books this month, and I'll explain why that is. A Confused Goat was the winner of the Random Number Generator game, and they also won the Patreon Wheel Spin, so very lucky for them. And the book that they want me to read for Patreon is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I believe this is supposed to be some kind of post-apocalyptic story with maybe more of a literary side. I don't know too much about this book. I've heard of the title and the author, but it's going to be fun to check it out. I believe I have the audiobook lined up either on Libby or Hoopla. Definitely going to be checking it out, and hopefully it's great. Confused Goat was the one who recommended me a few books by Thomas Pynchon. That's the guy's name. The Crying of Lot 49 was really interesting, and then his other book, which is slipping my mind. So Confused Goat has made me read some kind of weird out there books, but they're very entertaining. So hopefully Station 11 is just as good as those books. And then we have another Patreon pick, and I'll explain why that is. But the book is Memory Man by David Badalchi, if I'm saying that correct. And the reason that I'm reading this is because Aaron is God tier level on my Patreon. And for God tier on Patreon, not only do you get to participate in everything else, including the Patreon Wheel Spin, but you get an additional 2 books that you get me to read in the calendar year. And this is the first book that he's having me read, which I don't really know anything about this book. I think it's about a detective who has really great memory, like he never forgets anything. So that's a pretty interesting premise for like a detective series. So hopefully this first book is good, and we'll go from there. We also have our Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club pick for March, and that's basically our kind of thrill or thriller horror mystery pick that we do all year. Me and my wife Stacy run that. And our pick for March is Puzzle House by Duncan Ralston. And this is supposed to be kind of just a really short, from what I can tell, action-packed horror book. It's supposed to be about 6 strangers who show up to this so-called puzzle house, and kind of the cover says it all. 6 strangers, 6 puzzles, 6 way to die. So it kind of sounds similar to that Ian Robb Wright book that we read called Escape. It sounds like a very similar concept, and that book was really fun. So definitely hoping that this one is also really fun, filled with a lot of really fun death scenes, sounds like. So just sounds like a good time. And one of my most anticipated books of the whole year is The Unworthy by Austina Bazrika. You might recognize that name. It's the same author as one of my all-time favorite horror books, Tender is the Flesh. This is her brand new book that comes out in March, and I'm super pumped for this book. It's supposed to be very short, just like Tender is the Flesh. I did not look up anything about this book, so I don't really know what it's about. All I know is that I'm thinking I'm going to like this book. My expectations are kind of through the roof just because Tender as the Flesh is amazing. I should probably lower them a bit, but I'm just super pumped for this book. Next book I have to talk about is kind of the main reason why I'm not including more books on this list, or TBR/MBR, because this book is a 1,000-page tome, super long. I think on audio it's like 36, 37 hours. And it's a book that Ian from Ian the Reader is making me read. I'm of course talking about Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry, or Murtry. And this book, I know a lot of people, this is one of their all-time favorite books. And every time I see somebody review this book or talk about it, they have nothing but great things to say about it, including Ian. It's one of his favorite books. And it's supposed to be one of the best, like, character groups of all time, which I'm a big character reader, so I'm definitely excited for that. Yeah, but I am saving room on here just because I know this book will probably take a long time to get through. Very long, like I said, 1,000 pages. So I'm leaving myself some room here. I'm definitely excited for this book, and hopefully Ian does not lead me astray with this book, because some of his all-time favorite books, East of Eden, did not agree with me. So we'll see. And then if I have time, I might get to The Vacation by John Mars. And we're also, speaking of Bookish Drummer Discord and read-alongs, we have a John Mars read-along going on all year. So every month, we're going to be doing at least one John Mars book. I believe in March, they're actually going to be doing 2 John Mars books, because we're going to do The Vacation and his newest release, which I'll put right here. Can't quite remember the name. But The Vacation, from what I remember, it had a pretty interesting premise. I don't remember what it is at the moment, but I believe we had this on audio, so if I have time, I'll get to it. But like I mentioned, some of these books are quite lengthy, including Lonesome Dove, which is kind of my tome for this month. So I might not have time to get to it. Also, you know, I might wait and see what other people think about it, because I did the same thing with, I think, our January pick. Can't remember what that was, but a lot of people were not liking it, or just kind of thinking it was okay. So I kind of just skipped it for that month. I might do the same thing with The Vacation. Might save it for the end of the month. And then if I don't want to read that and I have time, maybe, I don't know, I'll just mood read, because I love mood reading, but also I have a lot of books to get through. So we'll see. All right, so that is my March TBR/MBR for the month of March. I have 9, possibly 10 books for me to read. Kind of the big behemoth of the month is Lonesome Dove. I'm going to try to finally get to that. And like I said, I don't know if I went into detail, but that's one of the books that Ian is making me read, because me and Stacy did a video where Ian is making us read 3 books, and I've already read 2 of them. Well, I DNF'd one of them, and then Lonesome Dove was his backup pick. Actually, that's false. One of his picks I had already read. I think that was Boy's Life, and then Lonesome Dove was his backup pick for that. And then I DNF'd one of his picks, which, you know, whatever. And then I've read a couple of his other ones. One of them I gave 3.5 stars to, and then the other one was Boys in the Valley, which I gave 5 stars. That's one of my favorite books I've already read in 2025. So hopefully Lonesome Dove is another banger, but we'll see. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff. A lot of these are going to be or a lot of these are going to have channels open for discussion over on the Book Astronomer Discord. So if you're interested in reading any of these, probably we'll have a channel for discussion in the Book Astronomer Discord. So let me know if you're interested in reading either of these books, or any of these books, I should say. And then also, have you already read these books? Let me know what you thought about them down below. Whether you loved them, hated them, or thought they were meh. So do all of that down in the comments below. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay subscribed for more content. Book Astronomer Discord down below for crazy amounts of read-alongs and buddy reads. And I should also mention that we're definitely planning a read-along for Sun Eater, because I realized that the 7th and final book is coming out in November, and I know I'm going to have FOMO for it when it comes out, so I'm planning a read-along starting in May. We're going to read book 1 and then read 1 book a month until the release date of book 7, November 18th, which is coincidentally the day before my birthday. So that should be fun. And I also have my Patreon link down below if you want to go support me there for as little as $1 a month. And I have my Amazon wish list if you want to go buy me a book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.